Hello! In previous videos, I've gone over connections between weapons practice and empty hands practice, and I'm going to do another link here today. So, I'm going to be going over some martial principles for internal martial arts movement and body efficiency. So, we talk about in internal martial arts about the idea of connecting the body all the way through the spine, through both legs, and through both arms. Now, this is a principle that's not easily obtained, but is apparent in weapons practice that then can translate into empty hand practice. So if I'm going to do a movement like this, where I'm swinging weapon around like so, or even swinging upwards, doesn't really matter which direction, the idea is made apparent. The idea of the connection, especially in that we're focusing on today, is the connection from both arms across the chest. So when I'm doing this movement, I'm not doing it independently with both hands. I'm not doing an independent arm movement here and another independent arm movement here. I'm doing everything working together into one clean motion. This means that everything is connected and is also connected through the pull. So if I was only swinging forward my right arm, it would be very weak because it's only coming from the strength of one side of my body. Likewise, if I'm doing this, same thing, same weak strength. But if I do both and have them act as counterbalance to each other, it gives a lot more power. You can think about it like this. If I just swing the stick like this and it hits something hard, it's actually going to ricochet off. To get a powerful movement out of this, you don't want that ricochet happening. So when I have this, both this push and pull movement happening in one, it gives me a lot more power. But if they're happening independently, there's a lot less connection, and thus it won't hit as solidly. This also applies to empty hand practice. If I do chopping like this, movements like this apply the same principle. I'm not chopping, but it's chopping as one. So it's as if I still have the staff in my hands as I'm chopping downwards. That way they can't lag behind. For example, if I chop with one, you can see that this one lags behind and then chops. But instead, they go together. This is because they are one movement, and it should be treated as one movement. Otherwise, it becomes very stagnant in power. So by applying the same principles used in the staff into the empty hand practice, your empty hand will be boosted as well in terms of power and connectivity. So you can imagine it like chopping wood. If you take an axe and chop wood. Anybody knows if they ever try to chop wood, if their grip is too slack or their arms are too slack, the wood's not going to cut. Your hatchet is just going to bounce off of it. There needs to be a solid connection, and everything needs to swing all at once, rather than swing one or swing the other or swing haphazardly. It all needs to become one movement. So in the same way that we practice staff, we practice empty hand. There's a lot more connections between weapons practice and empty hand practice than just this and the things that I've mentioned previously, which is why it's still an important practice today. While it's not necessary for self-defense anymore, it's an abundant practice for empty hand practice and self-defense. So you can take the principles that you learn in this and apply it to every other bit of your martial arts. Anyway, that's it for today's video. Thank you very much.